All right, welcome to the first episode of Thailand Tuesday here in the Funkit Pod. Let's see if we keep the name. I just thought to start this Thailand Tuesday thing because, well, I was surprised, but yes, surprisingly, I got lots of questions about like, hey man, we see you're in Thailand, you're checking your stuff being in Bangkok. How are things in Bangkok? How is life? How did you end up over there? Is everything awesome? Are you a digital nomad? Whatnot. So, well, let's just answer those questions and let's just talk about Thailand every Tuesday. Why not? I've been here for forever. So I think I can just share a few ideas, thoughts, how things go. If I say I've been here for forever, it's been almost 10 years. So I think I can, shine a light on like how to live in Thailand. What about life in Thailand? If you want to know some Thai, I can also teach you some Thai language if you want to. That's just all things Thailand. It's going to be rather short, I think, because there's no reason to make it like hour long and just talk about like my story and so on. So I'm going to talk about one topic each time we meet here on Tuesdays on the Thailand Tuesday. And then if you have any questions, you just shout out and I answer those questions. I think that might be the best thing to do here. So I said I'm not going to want to make it about my story and all those things, but of course a quick background to know like why I'm here. So, well, I'm born in Germany. You can hear from my accent. I graduated in Germany. I worked in digital marketing and so on. I worked in Australia. I worked a little bit in Spain. I worked in Austria, and I worked in marketing agencies for the majority of my professional career back then, and it just got too much. I just didn't like it anymore. I hated it, to be honest. It was just, the cliche, right? 60-hour work weeks or whatnot, and no free time, and just getting fat and bloated and depressed and so on. So then I thought, okay, I have to stop this. I'm not happy anymore. Let's stop it right here. And then a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend said, hey man, I'm gonna go to Thailand to teach there. I'm like, oh, that's stupid. Why would you do that? That looks stupid in your CV. But then the longer I thought about it, the more I'm like, why not? 6 months, just take a break, do something crazy that no one expected you to do, because I always do the things that make sense, or I always used to do the things that made sense. So why not do something crazy? Reset, do something completely different. At least you have a story to tell. You can make a podcast or vlog about it, and then let's see where this goes. So then, said and done, quit my job in digital marketing, flew to Thailand with really no real expectations. I never wanted to come to Thailand before. I never had a plan to travel here or backpack like many of my friends did. That wasn't never on my radar. So I just came here then, and I found the teaching job before, like the volunteer job before. So I got sent to Udon Thani, which is like in the northeast of Thailand, like in a poorer region. They call it Isan. It's the northeast, like the hardworking labor is there. Like it's far away from Bangkok and all things tourism. So there's also almost no tourism there. That's where I ended up for the first 6 months was the plan. Then I realized that teaching actually is fun, and I like connecting to students, and they really needed me back then in terms of, I don't mean to brag, but it's like they needed someone to care about them, because the Thai educational system isn't great. We can talk about this later on. The teachers in there aren't some are awesome, but not everyone is like they're dedicated, and it's like one of the easy jobs there, but not well paid. That's why not many people who are actually capable of doing it do it. And so they just needed someone who cares, who has fun. And I'm like, hey man, that's something new. I like you guys because you give me a chance here. Let's do the best that we can. And I went in there and just had fun with them, and I think they learned a lot, hopefully. And so they made me teach like almost 40 hours every week right off the get-go, which is a crazy amount of teaching if you're familiar with like how to do like classes, because you have to create the syllabus, check exams or check assignments, create assignments, worksheets, blah, 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 and whatnot. Things I had no clue about how to do, but they trusted me, and they had no choice, or they didn't care probably, like, yeah, here, you're a foreigner looks good in the classroom, you just teach them. And that's then how I stayed here. If you want to hear more about the teaching thing, we can certainly discuss all those things later down the road. I don't want to create a podcast just about teaching, but So that was one of the things that I did for 6 months first. But then I had lots of fun there, even though like I was living in a very basic housing, like on campus. It was really shitty. But the job didn't feel like a job yet, so it was fun. I saw that the student needed me. They asked me, please don't go. Like as the semester came to a close, they're like, can you please not go? So I was like, okay, let's just stay one more semester. And then in the end, I actually stayed 3 semesters. But I'm like, okay, that's as much as I can do, because I didn't get paid. I just got paid enough to buy food, right? So that was everything. I had a free accommodation on the campus, which was terrible. If you think about a shitty accommodation, it was worse. So it was terrible. So there was just no future there, right? So I felt bad, but then I had to say, okay, I'm gonna have to leave Udon Thani and the college I was working at, just because it doesn't work like this anymore. I'm still in touch with some of the students from back then. We're still with friends on social media or whatnot. We share like, hey, how are you doing? What's up right now? Lots of them actually now work either in Bangkok, or some even made it abroad, which is pretty cool. Some had to take the typical Northeast Thailand Isan route, which is not cool. More on this also later on if you're interested. So yeah, but that's about it. And then after that time in Udon Thani, in Isan, in the northeast of Thailand, as a volunteer, I liked educational thing. I like teaching, but I would like to connect it with something that A, I'm really good at, and B, maybe with people that are a bit more grown up, that study because they want to study. And so I thought, hey, university sounds good. I actually always wanted to be a university professor. Like I just always thought I can't be one. I don't know. I thought I'm too shy, or I don't have the skills. And I would be exposed as a fraud if I would try to teach stuff. But then I realized, hey, actually, I'm quite good at teaching. I'm good at figuring things out. Why not try it? So then I applied at universities in Bangkok, because that's just where the most unis are. And I thought if I'm Thailand, it would make sense to also stay in Bangkok for a bit. So then I applied at universities in Bangkok, and one of the private unis, Rangsit University, thanks for that, they said, yeah, sure, come by, let's have an interview. I came to Rangsit University, had an interview there, international college. Then they hired me. Then it looked pretty cool in the beginning, and again, maybe more later on, like how this all went down exactly. But yeah, so it looked cool in the beginning. It turned out not to be as cool as I thought, but I'm still grateful for getting my first shot at teaching in higher education, right? Because I mean, they had to take a chance on me, like, he's white, let's try, kind of. But yes, I taught courses like in digital marketing, electronic commerce, international, what the digital business, what else do we have? IT law, introduction to information technology, and I also had to teach English classes. Yeah, the German taught English because foreigners are supposed to teach English in Thailand. Actually helped me a lot to also improve my grammar, or not to improve, but to like understand why you do things that you do. Usually I'm good with languages. I studied English, obviously. I studied Spanish. Right now I try my hand in Japanese and Mandarin, and I think I'm getting a grasp of it, but it's all like feeling, and then actually teaching a language actually helped me to understand why I do the things that I do. I still don't want to teach German. They asked me to teach German a few times at a few different unis, actually, like, hey man, you're German, can you teach German? No. I'm not teaching German. Our grammar is just terrible. Terrible to teach. But back to this. So then I taught at a private uni here. Been there for, I don't know, 3 years or so. It didn't pan out the way I expected it to pan out at a university. And so I was torn between either leaving or finding another opportunity. I wasn't sure if like other places would be different. Then I looked around, and I got a guest lecturer position at my current employer, Thammasat University, and in the faculty for mass communication and journalism and mass communication. And I went in there for my first class was new media studies. I think because the previous professor left or something, so they had an opening. I went in there just for the second half of the semester. I took it over, and it just clicked right away. I went in there. I looked at the students looked at me kind of like, after the first class, it just clicked. It was like, yeah, man, I love being here, being with like those kind of people. They liked me apparently because I got like really good evaluation. Thanks for that. And so then after this, I got hired. I had to go through like an application process, of course, like you get vetted, psychology test, and all those things. But yeah, so, and I'm still there because I really like my students there. It's just awesome. We're clicking. They understand my sense of humor, the German sense of humor, if there is one. I understand them, and it's just fun there. So yes, that's how I ended up where I am. In between, I started this website here, of course, like right back when I came here, because I'm a digital marketing person and stuff. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do like a website, write about stuff that I see that bothers me, where I go and I like. So I have the website My Talk that I started back then. I'm still trying to keep up with it, but podcasting and I mean, actual like being a professor is kind of time consuming, but I still try to maintain it. I did some digital marketing consulting in between, like for friends and friends projects and so on, of course. So nothing too crazy, because you're not allowed to work in different areas if you're on a work permit. So you can only work for your employer or like for things that are related to a work permit, I believe. So I'm not doing anything out of scope here, obviously. But yeah, so that's it. That's how I ended up here, and that's how I I'm doing what I'm doing, I guess. So from now on, every Tuesday, I'm just gonna share a few stories, a few pieces of information. If you're interested in like, what about that work permit and visa thing, I can just share my story. It's a very boring one because I do everything by the book. So there's no cheat codes, no shortcuts, no nothing. Just do everything the way it's supposed to be done, and that's how it works for me here. But if you want to hear about this, I'm happy to talk about this. If you want to know more about Udon Thani, the northeastern region of Thailand, I can tell you more about this, about volunteer teaching at like colleges, about academics, living in Thailand, I know, finding apartments, anything, shout out. From now on, every Tuesday, stories about Thailand, Thailand Tuesday. So let me know what you want to know. Yeah, enter funny last catchphrase or something. Until next time, Sawadee Krap.